maybe it is a good thing to not have the older people. You know, I talked to someone recently that's been watching it, and they're like, I don't want to see him. Don't want to see CT. Don't want to see Beth. Don't want to see any of these people. Don't want to see Anissa. Don't want to see Tori. Blah, blah. And I was like, okay. But I also like to see them, you know, I do like Devin, you know, causing some problems. I like CT. I like it when Johnny does too. They know how to mess with people's brains.
Right.
You know, this right now, they're just getting into little corners. No one's doing anything. So if next episode is anything where they say like, well, there's crack in the alliance, that's going to be the bigger deal. Hey, what up, Challenge fans? We're a Final Alliance podcast, and we just got done watching episode 3. I say we. I just got done. Well, Klinger's here too, but I'm the one that's the host of this podcast, the one that's on our YouTube show. We just got done watching Challenge USA, episode 3, Declaration of Independence, and they continue to have terrible titles, so definitely we'll come up with other ones later. So, yeah, this, they seem to keep the same formula. It's just out there, and we're gonna break it down. But first, Sarah's on assignment out there. She's looking for actual places to actually have the Challenge USA, considering they have it in Argentina and not in USA. But maybe it's for certain things for the other producers that when they ever have the challenge, like Canada or somewhere France, maybe they'll come down to Florida where she's at. So she's on a special mission trying to find a spot. So watch the show. She said, hey, go ahead and do this. You got Klinger's got your back. And I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. Kind of like Dominic. I don't need a partner. I'm on my own. I don't care what you say. I'm my own island. So that's where I'm at right now. Yeah, episode 3. You know, let's slowly get into this. So, you know, Sarah's always the one that does more of the background, and we'll talk a little bit about her tea later. She left substitute teacher notes for me, but I did take notes for like the first time. Usually, to let you guys know, I usually just watch the show. I think about it on the drive over here, remember like things that I have in my head, but I did take some notes just to kind of get our way through this. But yeah, it's you know, the formula is that they just kind of just jump right in. There's not much of a what happened last episode that's not out there too crazy. All right. And that's kind of where when Sarah gives us the tea, we kind of get the behind the scenes. But I've been listening to, she said last week that Tyson has his own podcast. And for those of you know out there, you know, been a fan of this show and loyal listener, and again, I appreciate it that you do, you know that I do follow The Ringer quite a bit. Well, Tyson's on The Ringer. It's there. They do recaps of Challenge. And it is, if you think he's arrogant on this television show, this podcast at 45 minutes or to an hour is beyond ridiculous. And I don't know where they found the person that is his co-host, but she can't get enough of him. His wife needs to be worried about the podcast that he's doing with her, because this woman is in love with Tyson, and he can do no wrong in just the first 2 episodes. So, you know, we'll see what happens with their recap of episode 3 is. But so that one's on The Ringer. You know, if you can't get enough of our podcast, our show, you know, go ahead and check some things out. But I don't know. The Derek one that's on Spotify, it's okay. They just kind of go on a tangent as well. And I talked about that a couple episodes ago. But we're here to talk about episode 3, Declaration of Independence. And obviously we left episode 2. The algorithm's going to do their thing. You can't convince me that this isn't, it's not an algorithm.
It's a producer in the background. I mean, anybody that knows would be like, yeah, we're going to pair up. Oh, the Love Island people are going to need some, you know.
But this is where we're going to see where Dominic's getting hosed. But it's also to the benefit of Dominic, don't you think? And we're going to talk about that.
You think?
Yeah, because all right, if these Love Island people, whatever else, which, by the way, I'm so confused. I'm watching this thing on Paramount Plus. They're not a sponsor, but shout out to Paramount Plus. I get to watch this on live or whatever. And then they're still doing commercials on Peacock, a different streaming service, for Love Island USA. I thought everything was USA for Love Island. I didn't know. But, yeah, so...
Did you notice the commercials for this episode?
The Real Love Boat.
The leaf blocker.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it's like a leaf blocker where you put it in and blocks your gutters from getting leaves in them.
Oh yeah, these are the ones that are like paid for that somehow local that it gets on there. But I'm talking about their shows. Yeah.
Okay, I
Sure.
watched on Paramount Plus, and I didn't know if it was a CBS thing or what, but
Okay.
it certainly made me feel old.
Because you're like, oh, I do not like to clean my lockers, my leaf gutters. Yeah. No, there's another thing. There's a show like East New York, and then, yeah, it's so. All right, so they go right into the algorithm and like, here's your new partners, and they're all like looking at each other like, oh, I'm gonna miss my partner so much. We were doing such a good job. And you're like, you do realize that you're only together for like 3 days. So right away, the first name that comes up is David and Shannon. Shannon later on will say, I don't know if this is going to hurt us or not because David doesn't really talk to people. No, David doesn't talk. I have no idea how he made this show. He got kind of pushed out on Big Brother in a bad way. He got one of the first to go out, and I think he came back in on some weird way. And then they were doing an All-Stars, and he came back, and he's like, I'm doing this to redeem myself. And again, he didn't learn how to play the game. He didn't learn how to politic, and he still doesn't. You name me one edit David has outside of when they say David's partner, and it's a little thing in the bottom, usually on the right-hand side of the person, be your left-hand side looking at it, and there's David, Big Brother. Other than that, he's never on there. So there's David and Shannon. Shannon, she's from Love Island. She has one confessional on there where she just says, like, the ocean. I can't even get into the Shannon thing. Angela and Kylan. Angela's a beast. Kylan's all more than happy to be a part of that. Derek and Shan, we're going to talk about Shan later. Derek's from Big Brother. Ben from Survivor and Kira. She's from Amazing Race. Enzo and Desi. I know Enzo from Big Brother and Big Brother All-Stars. Desi, yeah, whatever. Then we have Dominic and Cachet. We'll talk more about that later. Actually, this is where we're going to talk into it right now that I brought this up, Klinger. Okay? So all Dominic says after he gets partnered up with her, he says, I don't know what I have going on, but this is my 3rd Love Island in a row. My wife isn't probably going to like this. Can I be partnered with someone more my age? Well, if we are looking at Love Island or The Amazing Racers as being kind of weak, and you can survive, wouldn't the algorithm be that you're going to get a stronger partner later if you can survive?
Well, algorithms typically I look at it like kind of gambling.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the method of a slot machine, right? It has to hit every once in a while, but it shouldn't hit every time.
Should not hit 3 times in a row.
Exactly.
Okay, but this is Dominic's in 3 episodes his best edit or whatever else, because I mean he doesn't bring anything to the table. He's an older gentleman, it's fine, but I mean I'm not going to be an ageist. I'm older too, but he's just I as soon as he said it, I actually have it in quotes, Love Island. I was like, well, wait, if you survive this, your chances are less likely to because you can never be paired up with this person again.
Sure.
So look at this as like a thing, is a blessing almost. So we'll see. Then there's Danny and Azza, Xavier and Kyla, Tyson and Alyssa. Alyssa's happy to be partner. Tyson's just kind of like, yeah, it doesn't really. Basically, it's Tyson. He's like, doesn't matter who I'm with. I'm the strongest person out there. Everyone will recognize that. And they kind of do. I mean, they call him a beast. Cinco and Sarah, Leo and Justine, then James and Tasha. So they kind of all look at the partners. There's the only one really was Dom and Kasha. They weren't like too excited about being partners. TJ's like, all right, get some rest. We're going to get a hold of you guys soon. So now they're kind of all going to talk to their partners. Why they didn't spend more time on this, I don't know. But now we see the Amazing Racers all together. And that would be Leo and James and Kyla. And James is wearing blue overalls and almost a red turtleneck. Funny thing about that is, again, I don't take notes.
No.
Oh.
It was red overalls with a blue turtleneck, right? Or did you just say that?
No, it's blue. It was blue overalls, red turtleneck.
Do I need to look this up? Really
Doesn't matter. I don't care either way. We both thought the same thing. He looks like Mario.
We did.
Like, he looks like an anorexic Mario. What? At any point was this a good idea to wear this outfit? Is the only thing I was thinking. Like, And the worst part, and then it does later on, the next time with the flashback, the outfit's gone. Just like, I'm in my jammies. I don't know. But he's trying to talk to the people and be like, if we just lay low, they'll pick each other up. They'll pick up the Love Island people first, and then eventually Survivor and Big Brother will all just pick each other off, and we're just going to be amazing racers who will just, be barnacles on whatever else, and we'll just float our way to the end, which is a bad strategy whatsoever. So that's what they do that. Then we have Derek and Shan talk. The Shan one is interesting because Derek's like listening to her, and he's like, you had your own Shan anthem. Like, don't try to, he's like, I watched Survivor. Don't give me this whole thing like, we're going to work hard, we're going to do this, and I want to play a clean game. He's like, I know you better than this. Last episode, this is where we had the Shan news. What happened to that?
Love the Shan news.
I know. Tyson's like, and this is also something you saw in the previews at the end of this episode. Tyson's like, the reason why there's the Shan news, he's like, there's no one who feeds off gossip more than that girl did in that house. So when you saw the preview for the next episode, she's very much in there being like, ooh, there's cracks in the Big Brother, blah, blah, blah. This girl just loves drama. So
she's going to drop some tea.
Yes, she is. So then you have Tasha and James. They're finishing each other's sentences, and they think it's hilarious. It's like, I'm a good person. You're a good person. I have a good heart. You're a good heart. Maybe, and then they both say at the same time, maybe we can rub off on each other. How does that work? If they already both know that they're both really good, what is it going to rub off on each other? Where's the yin and yang is what I'm looking at here for this. So I guess they're just really both friendly. Now, speaking of Shan, Tyson and Angela are going to sit down. And they're going to still talk about their, obviously, I'm Survivor, you're Big Brother, but what are we going to do here? And we're the two strongest competitors. Everybody here in this house knows it. And we're just going to have to do the best to pick off the weak ones. Because it's just going to be easy. We can float, not float. They're not floaters, but just like that way, it's just easier to get to where we need to be. And it's not brought up yet, and we'll talk about this later when Angela will say, I want to run a final against the strongest. But it was just kind of like, these people, let's just get the weak ones out because it's just going to be easier to throw them in. And then, it's survival of the fittest. If you disqualify or you get the very last in a challenge, you're automatically in to the arena, and they can just throw in whoever else. But they clearly think they're running the game. And then we got Shan who's like, I got my eye on these two. I'm going to keep my eye on Tyson. He's Big Brother strong, but I don't know how long this is going to last. I'm going to keep my eye on this. He's going to think some things about Angela. So that's kind of where we're at before going into the challenge. They're all kind of feeling out where they fit with their partners. And, the one thing that's going to be the overlining episode theme here is going to be Dom and Cachet and James and Tasha. And I've said this over and over again. Pay attention. They will foreshadow for you. It's not hard if you just pay attention to the subtle themes. And yes, you just saw me turn my page for notes or heard it on the podcast. All right. So we're going to the challenge. They go to this no longer working amusement park in Argentina, I guess. I don't know. It looks like they've got Ferris wheels or roller coasters it's what?
I think it's like an abandoned area. It's like 15 minutes from their house.
Yeah. Do you think it's because they had like amusement parks during like the Olympics and then they just scrapped it afterwards?
Like the World's Fair.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That Simpsons episode.
Well, I mean, that's really what happened. They build up all these crazy things around like the Olympics, and then they turn around and they're like, yeah, we don't have the manpower for this. We just did it for this, 6 weeks of revenue. Huh? Yeah. So they've got it, but there's nothing to do with roller coasters. There's nothing to do with the now worn down Ferris wheels or anything like that. This thing is going to be called Hang On Man. And it's going to be a challenge of hangman is what TJ is going to say. So what they're going to do is they're going to run a certain distance. and they're going to get these different, I guess, steps. They call them steps because there's 12 of them, and they have to make steps to get up to the top. And then one of your partners is going to go out on a limb, and you're going to have 2 feet out there, and you're going to have a bar across, and you're going to balance it. And the other partner is going to go run. Oh, they're going to go through this box of letters, and you've got to figure out kind of like a Wheel of Fortune type of board. So they take off and they go their way. Some people are just, and then here comes Tyson again, always giving something else. He's got his one-on-one with Alyssa, and he's like, these people in this challenge house. Let me tell you, I heard one of them say, I went on a 12-mile bike ride once, and I said, 12 miles is a warm-up. And then his partner goes, that was me. I said it. And he goes, oh, and then he's kind of like, what? And then he's just like, hey, Alyssa, 12 miles is warm up. I'm like, okay, Tyson. So, by the way, I forgot to tell you this. Tyson was a college swimmer too. And he loves to tell everyone, if you're a Division I swimmer, you're just a different breed than anybody else. This is on his podcast, not on this one. I have not interviewed him myself. Anyway, so they have to go, they get these letters, and if they get it wrong, they don't have a letter that's on their board. They have to grab a 10-pound bag and run it all the way back and hook it to the pole. So obviously there's going to be balancing there. Some people right away are like, I don't know, like I can't even look down, or should I go first? Should I do this and that? Dom and Cachet are not on the same page at all. She's like, I'm really fast. He's like, no.
As a partner, you have to think about, like, would you be the runner or would you be the balance person? Because I could not do the balance stuff. I'm drunk. I mean,
well, that's the thing. I feel good about balance, and I know we've talked about this in other episodes, but wrestlers do have incredible balance or whatever else, but it does take something else to where you can zone everything out. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, because when you're doing this, and we talk about this a lot, always of like, would you want to do this? Where would you rather be? Would you rather be the runner or the person balancing? Obviously, I'd rather be the runner. I'd rather be the person trying to figure out the board. But when you're on that balance beam, are you just seriously sitting there the entire time, like, run faster? Yeah. Wrong letter, dummy. Like, it's
get it together.
It's gonna be and I know she said, I think Dom picked his first letter was an A, and she was like, that you shouldn't have picked an A first. And he came back with a bag, and she's like, you shouldn't have picked A first. You should pick E's. And he's like, I'm not going to put up with this.
RSTLNE.
Then Ben says that he's a big Wheel of Fortune fan. All right, Ben, listen to me. This one really bugged me. This show has been on legitimately for 40 years, give or take. But I know for a fact it's got at least 37, 38 years in it, okay? And he's like, I'm a big fan. I know it's RSTLNE. We all know that. We all know that so much that Wheel of Fortune has gotten harder finals that they've let you get bonus if you don't get enough. So come on, dude. We all know, go vowels, do whatever else. Yeah, I'm just saying, he's like, I'm a big Wheel of Fortune fan. Everybody's watched Wheel of Fortune.
At some point in your life, if you didn't watch it now, you watched it like as a kid with your grandparents or...
I know, but you big dummies, you just got done doing a spelling thing Scrabble style too. So, come on. All right, so Ben, whatever.
So,
yeah.
Saying that, would you say that these last couple of dailies have been kind of weak?
No, because you still have the aspect of running the balance one or whatever else. I think the one scaling down a wall and doing elementary math was not that big of a deal. I've scaled down a wall before. I mean, I've done that before.
They did one of those in like Rivals or the Siblings one, where it was just on a building and there was somebody that tapped out first episode just because they couldn't do it because they were too scared. Yeah. So
I mean,
they used those as like
with like one day, like from a rafter, whatever else. I don't. To me, weird. Oddly enough, I'm not afraid of heights, but like looking up at a building, my knees will buckle for some reason. So when people say you're afraid of heights, I'm like, I'm not, but I am in some way. I just feel like the building's going to come crash down. So, but I think the last two have been pretty good about your endurance and everything else. So
the stairs thing was kind of dumb, but I mean,
the stairs thing were kind of dumb, but I will say this. I don't really want to give Kylan a lot of credit because I didn't like his game in Big Brother, and I think he's latching on to people now. I think his head is way too big for himself. I don't think he's that good of a competitor, but he was the first to sit there and say, these stairs are not adding up. They're not, you know what I'm saying, syncing up. It's not like you can just take 12 random stairs and put it in there. So he started lining those up. So that being said, Angela and Kylan are the first ones up. Then it goes Cinco and Sarah, then Leo and Justine, and then Ben, who gives us the line, I'm a big Wheel of Fortune fan, and I don't know. Good for Ben. So, yeah, it goes from there, and then James is sitting there, and Tasha, they're running. Tasha gives the whole, this is slow and steady. I know this is going to work out. We do not need to be, this isn't a race. This is a marathon. Everything's going to be fine.
Anybody who ever says that is doomed.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's do or die, isn't it? I mean, no matter what, like you have to, not like, oh, in the long run or whatever else. And
sprinting everywhere.
Yeah. And so James gets his first letter wrong, and he comes back 10-pound bag, and they all are good at vocalizing. And it's not like they're far, far away, okay? They're all really good about when they put the 10-pound weight on us, instead of just putting it on and taking off, they're like, all right, slowly, gradually give a little bit of weight, and then you finally let me know when it is. Yeah.
You holding it?
Yep. And you finally let go. You know, it's just spotting.
You already let go?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Yeah, spotting in a weight room. That's all it is. You got this. So he does, and she talks him through it. She's like, let me know. And he's like, okay. And he lets go, and she just falls right down. Tasha does.
There was a miscommunication there. He was like, I don't think he had fully let go. And he was telling her that he was getting ready to let go. She thought he had like a couple more seconds.
I agreed with you visually right away. I thought that as well. I thought that he had not let go. But now, we weren't that close up with the camera angle, but I know exactly what you're saying, okay? Because I thought the same thing, like, he said okay, but it wasn't okay. I agree with you. But when she fell, and then she took all the blame, and it wasn't like, I'm just going to take a blame. She was like, she goes, I was better at this. I won everything in Survivor. I have to put all that energy into this challenge because I know I'm a good competitor. And that's when I was like, okay, maybe not. But at first, I completely agree with you. But once she said, like, I need to put all this into Survivor, I was checking them both off of, you have now and lost the game, because this is what I always say, the foreshadowing of things.
Right.
But yes, I do agree with you. Visually, it looked like he had not, there was no space in between that bag and her.
I mean, it just looked.
So
when you're doing those, you over communicate. Like, anytime you got to cooperate with anybody, especially people you don't know that don't have.
Yeah.
You over communicate. So
So the rule is, if you fall off or your bag hits the underneath, the bag underneath, you're out. So there's no reason to play for second, third, or fourth, which sucks, because I still would like to see these people play it out. You know what I'm saying? So now we're starting to understand that as these are getting filled in, and of course they can't all be the same Wheel of Fortune phrase, that it's from. The second word is from. But we're going to get something from a country, because we start to see it, and Kylan's looks like, and right away, you all have watched Wheel of Fortune, I'm not going to do this. You're like, okay, that's from. And you see it a third time, and like you see Kylan's, and you're like, Finland, and he's like, yep, he says Finland, I get that. And then right away goes another one, you're like, that's Canada. And there's another one, oh, that's Argentina. So you start figuring that out. So there's your third word. So James and Tasha are out. Kylan's running there. He's down to, then he's like, all right, I'm just going to get the letter L, because he knows he needs the letter L for Finland. And then he puts it in there, and he says it gets the L there, and he's like, flutes from Finland. But you still have to go up and grab that 10-pound bag or whatever it is, and you have to grab the 10-pound bag, run all the way back, go up the stairs, and put it where your name is. And that's the way to be champion. Well, right after that, that's when Ben gets candles from Canada. So he's like, I can't let Kylan beat me. I can't let Kylan beat me. Kylan beats him. Kylan and Angela win, so that means Angela won on week 1 and week 3, or episode 1, episode 3. Tyson won on episode 1, episode 2. Their alliance looks strong. There was a time in between that I was kind of worried. There was a one-on-one with Tyson. He's like, Angela's she's in my team. We have, I'm Survivor Strong. She's got Big Brother. We're good. I can trust her. And he goes, I think for now, which I'm like, uh-oh. This should be interesting. So, there's your champions, Kylan and Angela, and, they're going to have to do their thing. They're going to have to figure out exactly what's going on. And this is where things get a little interesting. And with Dom and Cachet, with James and his group, with Leo, it all gets sloppy real fast.
Well, I think that's going to be the case with anybody that's never done this show before, is to get super sloppy, super fast.
Yes. And James does say, he's like, I think I have to change my game. I don't know. I've come from worst to first, or I went from zero to the hero is what he says, but he kind of still has to do the same thing. And maybe that's it. What he's alluding to in his one-on-one is, I'm not going to play the politicking game. I'm not going to do this, that. I have to look out what's best for me. So they do the thing where Angela and Kylan are going to bring him in, and they're saying, what do you think? And he's like, wow, I've talked it over. Obviously, you're not throwing in Big Brother, Angela. Obviously, I mean, neither one of you two, you're both Big Brother. And we feel like you're strong with Survivor, maybe, but it's not Big Brother. And they're like, okay, let's go down the list. And they're like, all right, we got Dominic and Cachet. I'm like, yep, it's been mentioned. And they're like, Cinco and Sarah. And they were like, no, please, no. Do not do that. You're writing our death sentence, basically. And they're like, we understand that. And they're like, Justine and Leo. And they're like, yep, these are the two teams. Meanwhile, Dominic's been going around saying it's going to be me. And they're like, no, you don't know that. And, James is kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And he's looking at it as Justine has the most money because she's got 6,000 and Leo's only got 1,000. So he's like, if I can beat them, we're going to split 7,000, get 3,500. We're going to get that much closer to running TJ's final. So he's like, talks to them. He's like, I wouldn't mind this. I wouldn't mind doing, Justine and Leo. I have to look at my game. And they're like, okay, we're going to think about it. But it's really up to them how they're going to do it. When I say them, I mean Angela and Kylan. So they come to this the elimination. This thing is called plug and play. This water tank, they've got these blocks made of, I don't know what. What did we figure out? Buoys, right? They got to be buoys.
They look like a cross between styrofoam. It's not just like straight up styrofoam, but like a denser styrofoam.
Sure.
Because obviously they're blocks, but they're thrown up. I mean, they're easily thrown up out of the water.
But before we get into that, we have to know who they're going to throw in. So, and I guess I'm getting ahead of myself because we got to talk about James' play. And so he's talking to, first things first, Cachet says to Dom, stop telling people you want to go in. And the Big Brother people are talking about everyone else. And Dom's like, I just really think I want to do it. And she's like, no, you don't. It's not time now. And he's just like, this is great. You're telling me how to play a game. Because she does say, she goes, I'm tired of him thinking these Love Island girls we're just all good looking or what. And this is the second episode in a row that she has brought that up. She said Tiffany was jealous because of Love Island girls because they're all good looking. And then she brings up, and Dom's like, I can't with this girl. She's so much smarter. He even says to Cinco, he's like, your girl's so smart. She's so smart. He's had it with her. Meanwhile, James talks to Leo, and he's like, well, it comes down to this. And I think maybe, and Leo's like, you're kidding me, right? And he's like, no. And then Leo does his confessional. He's like, that hurts my heart right here. Listen, you're on Amazing Race, guys. You're lucky to be on the show. No one remembers anyone from the Amazing Race. I can't believe they found this many people from Love Island that people remember. It's they make this be such a big deal when they're trying to just stay under the radar, but they're like, well, loyal. You have to be loyal to everything. You don't have to be loyal to Survivor. You don't have to be loyal to Big Brother. They weren't on the same season. They didn't live 100 days together in the Big Brother house. They didn't go to some remote island in Survivor, not all of them, just because they were the dude who used to host. See, that's how much I don't watch Survivor, by the way, everyone. The dude who used to host Rock and Roll Jeopardy, that's right, that's how old I am, in 1998 on VH1, is the host of Survivor Series. That's how I know him. So, what's his name? Jeff?
I don't have any idea.
See? Who cares? So anyway, they're like, nope, you have to be loyal. And then he goes tattles to Kayla, and she's like, I can't believe it's so dumb. Meanwhile, Dom's walking right by. So everyone's thinking that we're going to see now Justine and Leo. And like, who you pick? And Angela's kind of looking at Kylan, and TJ's like, Kylan? He's like, it's going to be Dom Cachet. All right, so back to what we were talking, Klinger. It's plug and play time.
Yeah, Dom gets his wish.
Yes, he gets to show off. He wants to be in the final. He wants to show why he is who he is. He gets to decide in this type of thing where he's going to go, just like if he's going to run or stand on the beam. He gets to decide if he's going to go in the water or if he's going to go, build the blocks. And he's a site construction manager, Klinger, yeah. and no one tells him what to do. His guys don't. He's just like, nope.
And he made it abundantly clear like 8 times.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So you go into this water, you unhook through these chains, these things that are buoys or styrofoam. I don't know. They float well enough. You throw them over the edge, and when you want to stack them, your partner goes down a pole, whatever else. TJ clearly says, when I pull this lever, water is going to go out of your tank. And if you would like to, at any time, you can cover that plug in the bottom. Because if you don't, there will be a line. And if you go below it, now that's the trick. Does he say below it or does it hit it?
I don't remember for sure, but
I know we didn't go back and watch, and that's fine. Because that leaves it.
They probably don't say either way.
Sure. And it's someone that can be left in comments or whatever else.
Right.
Because, if it goes below it or if it hits that line, you're disqualified. Okay, so this thing does not look that hard. Going back to what we said.
Do you remember when James tried to sit on the pipe?
1,000% I did, because I thought about how he busted his butt the week before, and I'm like, I can't believe he sat on the pipe. And he goes, and it hurt. Like, what? How many episodes? Well, you can't anymore because he's gone. How many? 2 out of 3 episodes he hurt his butt.
You know, they make lifeguard training videos about stuff like that.
Sure do. Yeah. Oh gosh. Anyway, no, you're fine. Going back to like a challenge, or an arena, whatever you want to call it, elimination. I would have loved this one. It would have wanted to been a Dom situation, no doubt about it, or James's. I would have been just fine. I can breathe underwater for a long amount of time. You don't have to swim too much, so obviously I don't have to deal with Wes or Tyson, who are the greatest swimmers since Michael Phelps. But I could have done this, got it out there, and even though I'm short, I still would have figured out a way to put the heel of my foot on there or whatever else. Or even if I couldn't enough, get underwater, hold my breath, done it so that they could do the stacks. Now, they're not just all round pieces like the bottom of this microphone. Some are, different shapes or whatever else. So there is a little bit of strategy for that to happen. But James is trying to put his butt on it. Then he realizes that hurts. He's got his foot on it. And as he's getting everything out, Dom is clearing all these things out. But James is stopping it, and they're catching up. And Dom is just not doing anything. Here's the thing. Nobody cheered him on to say, Dom, you got to plug that.
I did notice that.
Yes.
And I don't know if
completely
you-
different than the MTV Challenge. The MTV Challenge would have been like, Tom. So does that mean either
Somebody
they don't
would.
know the game yet or they wanted them to lose?
That's a very good question.
That's
I
the
had to
first thing I
consider
thought
that.
of.
I did think that when you, as I was watching it, like, I don't know if anybody would hear them, but you'd be like, "Yo, put your foot on it."
They'd hear him. She would turn around because they're talking like, hey, know that one or whatever else. He's got his head over. He's telling her to do whatever else, and then so it's a little crazy. Nobody's saying anything. Maybe that's just the entire thing being rookies to the game, or no one want to show their hand who they wanted to win. But that's.
I mean, we were just talking about this on Challenge All Stars, like 3
Mhm.
weeks ago for something else.
Yeah.
Same thing, and
But
fair play is fair play, right?
But at that point, when it looked like they're so far ahead, and you think like James is going to go, then you want to. It's smart. You want to cheer for the person who you think's coming back in.
They cut to commercial break with a teaser about them blowing it.
Mm. I thought that was terrible because I was like, that's when I didn't.
I'm like, how is he gonna blow it? Because all of his blocks are out. And then I realized, the water's got to go.
It goes to commercial. Right before commercial, Xavier's like, that water's coming out so fast, and he's going to do that. And I was like, no, I'm not falling for this. I know better than this. Like, I don't care. Justin Booth, the executive producer, I get this. I'm just saying that you would normally cheer for the team that you think's coming back in that way. And so this comes down to she is trying to hold this thing up. And don't get me wrong. Tasha's doing just fine. Hers fell over also. Cashier's got hers going. And he's telling her, let it go. And then when she's about to let it go, he's like, push it just a little more. Great, suspense.
Well, he's a contractor.
Yeah. He's a site manager for contracting. He tells people what to do. And this thing is touching this line when TJ blows that whistle. When she takes her hand off, and she's waiting too long to take her hand off. This is a tail of the tape that I think is going to be more of a people are going to be like, nope, this is ridiculous. This was a rigged thing or whatever else.
Well, and you have to look at the camera angle they used for that. The camera angle seemed low.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
To play devil's advocate.
I agree with that. And TJ's he seems to be 6 feet or more back from where they're at. So yeah. I do agree with that angle. So if they did that, that's a good job. But I wrote down, I don't know, 2 underlines. I think that's something else. But
I think if it's too close to call for a bad camera angle, then maybe it looks bad. Why would you use that camera angle in the footage?
I think there's going to be some people that are going to be like, well, what, it's kind of interesting. So, Dominic, Cachet win. James is going home. He's still like, I want to be back. Tasha's like, I just don't know. I didn't have it. I hope they ask me back. Cachet says like, we're the first to get thrown in and come back, and now I'm coming for you. No one believes that. I think maybe Dominic I think he's proven something, but there's more to prove with how much, crap he's kind of talked about being with his partners. So we'll see what happens. Kylan says, well, they win. I'm not tripping. Kylan, you don't have Angela now. I don't know. This fake algorithm isn't going to work in your favor. This is why I say I'm not a big fan of his. He's like, I'm not tripping. So
with the sloppies we saw this week I think we're going to see things get even worse because, they're going to change. They're not going to be used to switching teams so abruptly, and they're not going to be able to hold these alliances for as long.
There's no reason to, though. That's the thing I don't get. So the Big Brother one, like, you still have Derek and Alyssa in who are outside of the cookout, and they still have grudges, all right? Angela wasn't on their season. She doesn't have to take care of them. And so, like, Xavier, Kylan were in on the cookout. That's it. And David has absolutely nothing. I just brought his name up for a bookend at the beginning of this episode and the end, and we still forgot about him in between. So there's no reason for Big Brother to be like, oh, we're in a Big Brother line. No, you're not. Xavier will sit there, by the way, he'll eventually say, here's the pecking order of the Big Brother people that's going out. That's what he did on this show. Survivor, the same thing. It doesn't matter what you're on. It doesn't matter if you're on Amazing Race or Love Island or whatever else. It doesn't really make any sense. In the end, it's how to run the final. Now, Angela, and I know I'm jumping back, when she says the reason she is throwing in why she kept Justine and didn't Justine and Leo was because she had like more money and she wants to run against the strongest people in the final. That's not the way you do it here. They said we're going to go to, and she's like, well, we went for the weakest. She has the most money. So out of the four of them, she has the most money. So she's stronger than the other three. So Leo gets a pass because Justine has more money, and that's why Dom and Cachet are going in. That is not the case of what you want to do, and we'll get to that when we talk about what would bananas do. All right, you're thinking about things like, I want to beat the best of the best. You were in a first season of a challenge that you have no idea how to play the game. So you can say that all you want, but when push comes to shove, Tyson will throw you in. There's no doubt about that. They all will throw you in eventually if it means like I'm going to get one step closer to the grand prize. Yeah. So, and the way the algorithm works, it's not like you're partners the entire time. So we have the preview. We have Dom and Cachet coming back into the house. Again, I don't like this ending. Like, let's do this. Hey, by the way, you guys didn't realize this the last two times, but we have this fake wall. Here's our algorithm. So, like, and they're like, oh my God, we got to go through this again. Like, yes, you got to go through this every week. So,
well, it should get shorter every week. So that's a good thing.
So, that's how it's going to start every week and whatever. But, not a bad episode. Like I said, I wouldn't mind doing the Hang On Man. I would not have mind doing the Plug and Play. A lot of Dom Cachet heavy, a lot of James heavy this episode, and Tyson. Of course,
for a good reason.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, when, like I said, foreshadowing's there, whatever else. Tyson is good because he can still talk game with almost anyone if he really needs to. But so the other people, not so much. Like when we're going through, superlatives, who won the episode or whatever else, from what I understand from Tyson thing, Enzo sleeps a lot. He's got maybe a half romance with someone. I don't know who. It might be Desi. I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but he sleeps a lot. We didn't see much from Derek outside of we did Derek just when he was with Shan. That's it. Xavier was only there for a little bit. Cinco was only there when Dom said, "Hey, your girl's really smart."
Really, you'd have to say either Dom won the episode or possibly Pat Sajak.
yeah. So when you mentioned that, Azza wasn't anywhere. Danny and Azza were not on there at all, outside of when they called their names. So that's cool. Personalities are terrible. Anyway, okay. So who won, lost the episode? If we're going through the categories, first things first, this is called the Challenge USA Declaration of Independence. I like to rename it. I call this the Amazing Fakers instead of Amazing Racers. That's my name.
That's pretty good.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah, because their alliance is fake.
Of course it is.
Yes. Who won, lost this episode? Who won? I think it was Dom. I really do. And I think he's also going to get the best line later on. But in a weird way, you're almost giving it to him because you're like, but I didn't like
He called his shot. He wanted to go in.
He wanted to go in, yeah. But
anytime you go in and you win, like you want to go in and you pull it off, that's an automatic win for me for the episode, typically.
It's too easy to say Tasha lost this episode because she was down on herself the entire time. You're almost like kicking someone when they're down. And I hate to say like someone like Shan because I think that she's a early favorite to win next episodes. Who lost this episode? I think she's going to come off as cringeworthy and lose it.
I think she's going to pull off some major moves soon.
Yeah, not Cachet. She didn't lose anything. Angela, losing this episode is a tough one. It's got to be Tasha though. She fell off. She couldn't get the thing up there.
For me, it's the music. I mean, Tasha, she didn't lose anything. She just, but it, in a weird way, it's your almost giving it to him because you're like, that's an automatic win for me for the episode, typically.
It's Yeah, the music was not there at all.
The music sounded like it tried to be like a Christopher Nolan film. Like
Yeah.
I got like elements of trying to be Batman.
Yeah, the only one I really when they were running when I was running they were running, I was like, what is this music? Like when they were running and someone took off their shirt, and I was like, wait, what is this music? It's cringeworthy, not so much cringeworthy when James looked like an anemic Mario. I don't know if that was I don't know if that was cringeworthy.
The Mario outfit was awesome.
Yeah,
I thought they were doing like a costume night at first, like the
I agree.
Night.
Yeah, yes.
And then I saw that nobody else was dressed like Luigi, and then I just didn't understand.
I'm giving. You know what? She can go back to back. I'm just not a big fan of her. Like even before, like they went into the final, I wrote down her quote because it was like so like non inspiring and so fake, and she was like, "You guys are incredible." I was like, "Why did they put that on air? Like you don't believe that." Yeah. So, I guess it's gonna be Anorexic Mario, cringeworthy. What would Bananas do? That's the one. Bananas has said over and over again, and he's not the only one. So if I'm quoting him only, I apologize. But when Angela says, "I want to run against the best," Bananas has always said, "No, that's not it." So Bananas would have put in who he thought would be the best to run against the finals that he would want to hang out with. Because he says you don't want to spend 2 or 3 days with someone you can't stand when you have to be dealing with eating that crap and someone's going to complain and their complaining drives you nuts. Or standing on a log for 12 hours and they're complaining and their every word, their breath drives you nuts.
Or if you're like already feuding and you got to go out for drinks the night beforehand.
There's another one. Yes, like that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's
or even like the ride home, because a lot of times they get done filming and they send you straight to. He'll tell you a story about how they got done with something and it was him, Wes, and it doesn't matter, 4 other people, and they went to this place. They were down in Mexico, and they went to this room and they thought they were all going to be in like this, all have their own rooms. And production's like, no, you're all going in here. And then they come to find out that they put 6 of them in after they ran a final, 6 or 8, I think it was 8, after they ran a final. Oof. And that's where TJ stayed the entire time by himself. Oof. That's where TJ ranks compared to everybody.
It's like we're going to put Bananas and Sarah in the same room. After
so he said like that's what you want to do. So like that's what Banana would do. My favorite best line is definitely when Cachet was like, well, I'm a little smaller and I think I can get these things swimming out there. And Dom just goes, no. That was my best line. I loved it.
I can tell you what Bananas wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Bananas wouldn't want to go, okay, I want to run a final against all the best people and the best people in the entire world. No.
Yeah.
If Bananas and CT were on the same season, he'd be looking for a way to secretly, we're going to get CT out of here so I don't have to run against him.
Well, here's what's going on. Right now, the one alliance that we see that isn't season related is Angela and Tyson.
Okay.
The moment one of those two do not win, that's when you're going to see we're getting them out. You with me? Do you think? Okay. I don't. Wouldn't you? If the Bananas would be like, no, we don't want this, or we got to get CT out, or whatever. Don't you think that's when they're finally going to break that whole I want to run against the best? Because she's only seen her Tyson win, and she's thinking like, oh, we're going to keep the best people. But the moment when somebody beats them, a couple, and they're going to be like, yep, that's it. We got to get them out.
There's going to be a hard loss coming soon.
That's what I'm saying.
I think there's got to be something coming to shake this up.
Yeah, because I mean, I've watched way too many of these where I'm like, there's no way. There were notes left by Sarah, and I have to follow the guest teacher notes. MTV versus CBS, and Klinger, you gave something to me. You gave me
it was a meme or it was stats. I think it was from Challenge Stats on Twitter.
And what you gave to me were the numbers from episode 1, episode 2 of MTV The Challenge, Spies, Lies, and Allies, which would be 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago?
It was 2 seasons ago.
Okay. And now the farce of the CBS original, even though it says MTV in front of the Challenge USA. CBS original. Congratulations, CBS. Anyway, episodes 1 and 2, the numbers that you have viewers. So episode 2 of the challenge, Spies, Lies, and Allies, that they're having the viewers, there were 660,000 viewers. Episode 2, there were 620,000 viewers, so a drop of 40,000.
Okay.
The Challenge USA, episode 1, had 2.33 million viewers. So basically, it's 2,326,000 viewers.
Love to see it.
Episode 2 had 2.195 million viewers, so 2,195,000 viewers. That's quite a bit. You're looking at those views, right? MTV, not a lot of people have MTV anymore. We're cutting cords at that time when that happened. CBS is a little different. The drop off between the two of the two episodes, from the 6,600 to 200 to 6,000 to from the 600,000 you know what I'm saying, 660,000 viewers to 620,000 viewers.
It looks like you've done some major math.
I
over
did.
There.
Is 6.06%. That's the drop off from episode 1 to episode 2.
Okay.
From the 2.3 to the, if you even round it up to the 2.2, but I didn't, 2.195, 5.63. It means nothing. That drop off means nothing at all.
Maybe it was nothing about the drop off and just the fact that the viewership on CBS is expanding the brand.
To the average challenge fan, they would look at that and be like, I can't believe 2 million. But the person who knows, and you know too,
Sure,
how ratings work,
I do.
that's what you look at. What's the real drop off here? Because CBS has it. I mean, it's a CBS original, even though the MTV logo is right in front of it, the challenge or whatever else. But
It's a conglomeration. Come on.
yeah, yes. Well, except for Peacock must have bought into Love Island. I have no idea, but I don't know why they chose Spies, Lies, and Allies. The first thing that jumped out to me was like, let's look at the numbers here. Hey, you know what? It's MTV will show 23 hours of ridiculousness, but you'll only be able to watch the challenge at one time. They do not re-air it. They do not do it previously, whatever else.
They really should re-air it.
No.
Do you remember in the 90s when they'd re-air like The Real World?
Yes. They should re-air the previous episode at 7 and do the one at 8. MTV does not re-air it. They would kill it more if they did that. They'd get more advertising. Whatever. This guy from Ridiculousness is making killer bank off of MTV.
Sure, the royalties alone.
Absolutely. So that's I don't know. Maybe, I mean, we can look at it. Someone can do in the comments why they chose that one over else. But the drop-off is not that big as far as you see it. But, it's for people who are new to it, they're all going to look at it and go like, oh, I can do that. And the people who are old to it, to the challenge, can go, oh my God, these people are so dumb, or I could do that challenge, or this one reminds me of this. Like, thing underwater reminded me of something else. And that time you brought up same thing, like an earlier challenge. You're like, yeah, it was kind of like this episode or whatever. So I think it makes a good, the one on CBS, the one we're talking about, makes a good marriage of the old and the new. I do think that. And maybe it is a good thing to not have the older people. I talked to someone recently that's been watching it, and they're like, I don't want to see him. Don't want to see CT. Don't want to see Beth. Don't want to see any of these people. Don't want to see Anissa. Don't want to see Tori, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. But I also like to see them, I do like Devin, causing some problems. I like CT. I like it when Johnny does too. They know how to mess with people's brains.
Right.
This right now, they're just getting into little corners. No one's doing anything. So if next episode is anything where they say like, well, there's cracking the alliance, that's going to be the bigger deal. This is where Sarah usually comes in hot with the T.
T.
The MT of the V. All right, she says last episode, Tiffany hurt her ankle. That's why Cinco carried her. Oh, I hate to tell you this one. That's not true. Tiffany,
she wrote this the other day, so she's
she might have hurt her ankle or whatever else, but she's not a very big person. Neither is Cachet. Cinco probably carried her around as well. But Tiffany was the only girl that didn't have a bottom bunk out of all of them. She had a top bunk. James got her bottom bunk for some reason when they went to the house. So no one really wants to be up top. It's a pain to get down. She probably, either faked an ankle or injury, or Cinco was like, hey, I'll just pick you up and take you there. Just throw that out there. I do my own research too, Sarah. Miss you very much. Can't wait till you're back. She said Cara released a posted statement about the challenge. Maybe when she's back. Don't care. Like going back to someone you want to run the final with that you care about. Don't care. This is what Sarah says. Jordan came late, challenge 38, and him and Tori are allegedly hooking up back together. The rumor, and Tori's going to hate this rumor. She'll talk about it on her podcast. Rumors were she dumped him because he was canceled. Okay. Now that he's uncanceled, she's back in. That sounds like a Tori thing to do. Like both of them sound like a Tori thing to do. I'm not shocked. It's not like I read it. I'm like, come on, get out of here. I was like, yeah, okay, that sounds about a Tori thing to do. All right, I buy it. So let's see if I have 3 things here that I'm buying stock in. That's the number one that she's like, yep, I'm in. Released a post. Maybe she'll be back. Yeah, probably. Of course she will. They're not going to leave. It's like a Ric Flair saying he's going to retire. He's retired 17 times, and he's a 16-time champion. He's got a match July 31st. And then Tiffany hurt her ankle. I'm not buying that one. But, next episode's next week, episode 4. It'll be something to do with the United States.
No. Did you see the trailer for next week? You know next week is?
What?
Trivia.
I did see that. So they're falling off a ledge. Yeah, because you always know when I didn't know what he said exactly of it, but I knew they were on a ledge. And when TJ hits that laugh, you know it's usually trivia.
There is a good laugh at him.
Yeah.
In the trailer.
Absolutely, there is. Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't think I heard it right, and then I saw that, and I go, "That's absolutely trivia. That's the trivia laugh of TJ."
Yeah, that's exactly.
Everyone knows it's one of our favorites, and
yeah,
we love it. Sarah will be excited for that.
I'm trying to think who's going to be the dumbest just by looking at the list right now. Oh my God, is David going to have to actually have camera time answering something? That's going to be weird for him.
Ben's a big fan of Wheel of Fortune.
He's a big fan of Wheel of Fortune. Enzo's going to say some dumb things. Trust me. Danny, Azza, whatever. Azza was in the cookout too, but I know earlier I mentioned some people. Let's see. Yeah, there's going to be some real dumb answers. Sorry, this is where the Love Island people are really going to look dumb. Yeah.
You think?
Oh, yeah. You do not want to be partnered up with Love Island people in this one.
Well, and it's nice because it's a new kind of franchise. The questions won't be centered probably around old challenge stuff. It'll be like basic knowledge.
It'll be like spelling. Remember when they have the spelling bee or whatever else? Or there'll be things that general, but like, yeah, it'll be like capitals of things. Or what's the one that
math?
Bananas can't live down. Like what? Oh, it's what do they speak? What language do they speak in Australian? Australia, and he said Australian, and they're like, so yeah, there'll be things like that. So, but that'll be next week, and yeah, getting closer and closer. I don't know. You guys can leave me comments, tell me how I did. Klinger, thank you so much for helping me out here.
Anytime,
you supported me well here. Sarah will let me know how I did, and she'll clean up this mess next week when we come back. That'll be her job to be like, well, here's what you missed or whatever else. But I thought we did okay doing it with our notes that we did have.
We did well. I took notes too, so
yeah. So we did. We came through a little bit here. So, but yeah. Tell them again where to follow us all.
Hit us up on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Hit us up on Instagram. Hit us up Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you podcast. We're there. So.
There you go.
We are Final Lines Podcast.
Yes, we are. And Sarah will be back, and we're back into full swing. And, these are the things like this is when I miss when she said she almost cried about something I can't believe that she would even cry about. So that's the one thing I knew I was going to miss the most about tonight, that I'd have to stare at her and go, you seriously thought you were going to cry over that? So, yeah, safe travels to Sarah. Hopefully she finds a nice location for the Challenge Canada or Challenge Argentina, because she's on assignment for the producers. So Justin Booth will be getting hold of her soon when they start following us on Twitter. You guys take it easy. Thank you for your time. We'll talk to you soon.